Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to PC Gamer Girl. My name's Gray. We're continuing with the letter. If you did not see last episode, I strongly suggest you go back and watch it because I just went back and did the second part. Like, the first choice I made was a good one. I just went back to see what would have happened if I had chose the other option to disarm Luke. Let's just say that was not a good idea. Anyway, we're continuing where we left off. Oh, I'm so frazzled from that whole experience. I should record it and let you guys see what happens, but I'm gonna leave it for now. Oh my god. Anyway, another long and exhausting day at work, and I still have much to do. We're finally on Luke. Sometimes I wonder why I still bother. I can surely afford to retire, leave the businesses to trusted colleagues. I wonder how long this is gonna take, because we have a lot to go through for Luke, I imagine. Like, I feel like this is where the shit's finally gonna get crazy. Like, Ashton was crazy, but this is where it's gonna get psycho, I think. Even if they make enough to only break even, I have enough money to last us a lifetime or 3. I could send 7 children to college if I had any, not that I plan to. But the problem is obvious, isn't it? I don't trust any of the lot. It has to be me because they might get it wrong. I don't want to retire and suddenly wake up one day only to find that everything has gone down the shitter.
Christ, I'm knackered. Who do I have to kill to have fewer problems around here?
I'm not really allowed to complain. I chose this path. But that doesn't stop me from doing so as I throw my shoes off and let them land wherever they please. Petty, maybe, but there's a certain joy that comes with stepping on the carpeted staircase with nothing but my socks on. I know that feeling. It's a good one. I'll accept no distractions. I can call up the the butler for a sandwich, but that's probably it. I've gotten a suitcase filled with contracts to check over and sign before I can retire for the night. I'm also waiting for a call from Suarez for any new updates regarding the IT leaks, a real cause for concern. It's the reason there have been investigations on me. Had it been a new thing, I would have let it run its course. But it's been going on for far too long, these near 3 years, for me to just take a passive role in the affair. I've only kept my head this far because I've managed to mitigate most of the damage with several favors. And some grand puppeteer to ensure the high-profile law enforcement and government officials keep me out of trouble. But who knows how long it can stay that way. Powers are shifting and the current can be unpredictable. This whole exit business is already shaking things up and upsetting the balance. It's only with great care that I stay where I am, but the smallest of efforts can unravel all that I've done. It certainly won't help me if I'm being accused of things, whether I'm guilty of them or not, because some computer chump thinks he can play a game with me. And well, shit. It'll be a miracle if I get to sleep tonight. Though that's hardly surprising news. But before I can even take a step into the study, a voice from the bedroom calls out to me.
Luke, darling, you're finally home. Why don't you be a dear and come in here?
And I hesitate for a moment. I do have work to be done with, but I suppose greeting my wife as I get home is only proper. I've already been gone for most of the week unless I needed to be here for work or the house. So with a sigh, I head towards the bedroom. Oh! Hi, Hannah. Okay. The feelings that came to me as I enter the room are definitely mixed. For one, I'm somewhat floored by the sight that greets me. Then there's confusion. Exasperation is strangely there as well. And as to be expected, there's desire. She's a divine goddess, or rather she's a horrible temptress. What man wouldn't be attracted by that? I guess they could be a sausage junkie. But that's beside the point, and it's not relevant to the situation I found myself in right now. This is nice and all, but why does she have to go and do this now of all nights?
My love, the bed is awfully cold without you.
I love that there is an achievement called Slutty Hannah. That is amazing. The matter of the fact is, I've never seen Hannah all primped up like this since our first year of marriage. There must be something special to bring on such an act. Our wedding anniversary has already passed, so that can't be it. Hannah's birthday's in April and mine's in August, so it can't be either of those either. So what in bloody blazes brought this on? Is Hannah drunk?
Why don't you just, take a rest? I'll be busy all night.
Is that answer too cold? I don't mean it to be. She certainly doesn't look amused. And if it doesn't feel wrong to refuse sex from my wife when I was all too happy to bang Mary Ann into her mattress. Of course I was drunk, but still.
Come on over and stop being a boring old man. Work can wait.
Maybe I can entertain her just for a while. It's a tempting idea. But no, I'll never get any work done that way. And imagine how horrible it would be to get a call from Suarez in the middle of a shag. That would certainly kill the mood and piss me off more than anything. It'll be even worse if Kylie steals the phone from him, as the little ankle biter is prone to do unless her father is locked in a room. Just thinking about the possibility is weird and turns me off from even trying anything. Wait, Suarez? I thought Suarez was the chief inspector, so is Kylie his daughter? I'm very confused.
I'm afraid it can't, Buttercup. But hey, it's Sunday tomorrow. We can go out for dinner right after. Somewhere nice like that Italian restaurant you wanted to try out?
Why don't we skip dinner tomorrow and eat out tonight?
Oh my god!
Whoa there, why don't we slow down? Looks like someone is in the mood, but hey, there's a time and place for everything.
Girl! I grew up in a house where sex was a constant thing. It's just a thing that the body does, more or less. Sometimes it comes with social implications, supposedly. With paper-thin walls and a mother with that horrid job of hers made me think that way. But I learned later on that it isn't the case for everybody. Suffice to say, this is really odd. For her, at least. I'm quite sure she never grew up in a sexually promiscuous home like I did. She grew up with a well-to-do, normal, and decent family. And in the 7 years we've been married, she's never acted this aggressive about sex. We do it when the mood comes to that, but never like this. And when I'm in the mood and she isn't, that's about the time I go around town to have my back scratched. I've got nothing to be guilty of, I believe, as long as it's just lust and not love. My night with Mint was just that, sex. She was a beautiful woman. I was extremely drunk, and we were both consenting adults to some degree. Seeing as Hannah had been too busy with one of her many parties, I thought I'd take the opportunity to slip out. That's a good way to explain it, I guess. I'm just really confused and trying to come to grips with reality as it is presented to me.
Well, this is the place, but now is not a good time, darling. Like I said, I have plenty of important work to be done. Any other night, this would be great. Excellent, splendid. But not right now, okay?
I suppose if that's what you want. I can have my prince another time.
A chill runs up my spine as she calls me that again. My prince. Is she going through some midlife crisis? I know she's not the sort to play pretend with that sort of thing. Now that I think about it, this is probably some dream. Perhaps I've been exposed to something? Jesus, I've gone and fucked my own brain over. That can be the only explanation, or at least the only explanation my mind wants to accept right now. But if it were, I would probably accept her offer, no? But on the off chance it isn't, I shouldn't. Either chance fucks someone over, quite literally at that.
Yes, that's right. Another time. So if you could put your dress back on. It's really chilly right now, isn't it? You don't want to catch a cold if we're going out tomorrow.
Oh, Luke. Thankfully, she's done as she's told, which puts this strange episode to an abrupt end. Unfortunately, she had to put her dress back on so painfully and seductively slow. I suspect she knows the things she does to me. As much as I'd like to have the engine running, there are things to be done to make sure we can keep on enjoying a glamorous life as we do now.
I'm starting to think you don't find me beautiful anymore.
Is that what brought this on, then? You are an angel. A goddess, Hannah. Of all the flowers in this garden, you are by far the most beautiful and rarest of them all.
There he goes with the flowers thing again. I really don't get it.
Every bloke would want to be with you, and every lady would want to be you. I'm sure it goes the other way around, too. I'm lucky to have you, and I don't know how you put up with the likes of me. I'm really sorry, darling, but it really isn't a good time.
I don't quite think little Luke is up for fun yet, just either. I must have, I've got to be dyslexic. I keep switching words around. Not after the blow he had been dealt with by a violent ginger harpy. You'd get that if you saw like a few episodes back when we were playing Rebecca. That's more understandable. It does hurt me to see her upset because of something I've said or done or said. It always does. One can't always get his way or her way, though. At least society would like you to believe in order to soften the blow of disappointment. Her eyes are different. Like, has anybody else noticed that? Her eyes are very different. They're cloudy. They're not as blue as they usually are. And I'll have to take their side on that just this once. Pulling her in for a hug and a peck of the cheek, I'm quick to pull away before I change my mind and make it more than that. I can at least give her those.
Chin up and smile. You'll get wrinkles frowning like that. And beauty sleep helps.
Of course, she's got that necklace on now, so we all know she's crazy at this point, but the eyes are very different.
Of course, my prince. I suppose I can do with the sleep.
The smile that lights up on her face is enough to make me forget about the oddity that has just transpired. I still don't understand this whole prince thing, though I'll let it slide for now. Seeing her with her golden locks and that silver dress, it almost makes her queenly, with due respect to her majesty, of course. Despite that, there is just something off.
Hana, before I go, what happened to your necklace? The blue diamond.
The fact that she seems confused feels off.
Whatever do you mean? Oh, that old thing. It's somewhere in the vanity drawer, I think.
And to be so aloof about it?
What? But wasn't that from your father?
It was a priceless heirloom, to be exact, handed down from one generation of Evans to the next, whether it be to a wife or a daughter of an Evans. I know that Hannah treasures it so, especially after it was given to her with her own mother's passing. Then, what is with that ugly thing dangling around her neck? It looks more like a choking hazard than anything.
It was, of course it was. I just thought a change would be nice.
I don't think I've seen her wear anything else in its place. A change it is, but not an entirely welcome one at that.
I see. I suppose that makes sense. Well, not that it matters, but I like the old necklace better. At the very least, we can have it cleaned and polished while you're not wearing it. Remind me to have that done in the morning.
Whatever you wish, my prince.
Right. You have a good night then, Buttercup.
I kind of feel like Luke is not as bad as we all are being led to believe he is. Like, I feel like the butler is the crazy one in this situation. And now that Hannah's wearing that necklace, of course, she's going crazy. But I feel like Luke is more or less just a businessman. Like, he's freaking nuts. And he's a little cruel and all. But I don't feel like, as it stands right now, I don't feel like he's got it in him to murder people, you know? I could be wrong, but I could be entirely wrong about the guy, but I don't know. We'll see. With a shake of my head, I don't waste any more time than I've done already. Heavy suitcase in hand, I head straight into the study and dive right into the contracts. There's a whole stack of them too, mostly to do with property management. Nonetheless, careful work needs to be put into them, as with everything else. My attorneys have already checked them over, but I like to be precise. I'm not going to sign if there's even a single line I do not like. It's a long way into the night when a coldness envelopes the room. I suspect at first that it's merely just the usual chill, but the heaters have been turned on as the strange sunny weather that's been gracing us as of late has come to an end. The door is barely open, just by a crack, though I shut it in case that might help. Satisfied, though not as much as I would have liked, the room still feels freezing. I make my way back to the mess of documents waiting for me at the table. Just a few more and I can get that well-deserved rest. Get out of this place and dive into warm comforts of my bed. Then maybe, if Hannah is still up for it. Well, it's more than enough motivation. Parking my rear back on the chair, I begin to work with the last of the blasted papers, more than ready to be done with everything and turn in for the night. Only for another chill to startle me to a stop. And that's when I feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Eyes boring at the back of my head, I brush a brush of air just at the nape, and when I glance back, reflected in the lone portrait in the room, someone stands behind me, just by the study door I closed moments ago, though I did not hear it open. Perhaps it's Hannah trying to be sneaky, or the butler being a bell end of a spook as usual.
Do I really have to ask people to knock before they enter? Seriously now, this is anarchy, and I'll have you know.
I turn, but there's nothing.
Huh. Must have been a trick of the light. It is getting late and I should really go to bed myself. Just have to finish looking over a few more contracts and...
Yes, just finished signing these and I can have some rest. Maybe arrange for a day off in the morning. Sighing, I steel myself for a long night of dry paperwork. Still, the feeling that I'm being watched stays with me all through the night. October 30th. Okay, let's see. And with the sun rising comes another disturbance. Both too loud and too sharp for my tastes. And I have very fine tastes. When the piercing rings of a doorbell reaches even the study, I'm very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has chased away the needling guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that this is going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the chair and heading straight for the main door. There'll be a murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting on my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how odd my own wife has been acting as of late. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself. Perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side and the hour he dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hannah will disapprove, scold me for treating the man with such disrespect if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him, after all, treats him like a friend she's known for years. But she's not here, isn't she? What she doesn't know...
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
My rules also apply to this place as much as Hannah's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens that it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it, and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually he leaves, and silence once again fills the room, as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds, nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, the butler will take care of it if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, I need rest, even for just a few hours. My lovely wife's still fast asleep when I finally join her in her bed. As odd as she has been acting lately, her company's nice after spending long, grueling hours working through business documents. Then again, it's not like I'd be losing out on much if I take a break or two. In fact, all I have to do is say the word and Advanced General Electronics' stocks are going to go down. That's the least I can do after Rochelle Vance's outburst during the party. I highly doubt she'll be Rochelle Lee for long. Not if Harvey has any sense in him. So with a sigh, I drift off, setting aside my problems if only for a few hours. Oh, so the chief inspector's last name is Lee. Okay, I thought it was Suarez. Who the hell is Suarez? I know that name. Waking up to find my bed empty hours later is a strange sensation. Not to speak ill of Hannah, but I've always woken up first, even in the early years of our marriage, mostly because I've always been accustomed to doing so. As a child, I woke up early to escape the house before one of Mother's scheduled date clients came in. Later on, it was to assist with breakfast and to prepare food for school. And it just kept with me through the years for one reason or another. If there was no reason to wake up at 6 in the morning, my mind would always find reason to. To work, to nurse a terrible hangover, to make sure I was the one leaving the bed first just because, and not the other way around. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning too, if not earlier. Like, I'm always up at 6. Checking the time on my phone shows that it's already 8:30, but what can I do about it? Getting up is an entirely different problem on its own. Waking up after getting only a few hours sleep in has my body stiff and sore and my mind feeling lethargic. A part of me wants to go back and doze off again, an alien feeling to me, but it's already far too late for my tastes. All I can manage is to sit up before there's a knock on the door.
Yes, come in. I'm decent. I don't see why you have to knock.
Even if I was only in my knickers, there's only two others inside this house aside from myself. I've arranged for the staff to have the Sunday off, what with it so closely to a holiday anyway, so that I can have some peace and privacy. The security outside the house doesn't count, of course. There's no need for Hannah to knock, so I expect to see the butler and ready myself for a reproach. To see that it is Hannah is odd, but not a cause for concern. Most likely she too found it strange to see me still sleeping and had to let me indulge. So her eyes are still like pale. I thought maybe it was just yesterday in the lighting, but it's not. Her eyes are still a lot paler than they were. Yet there's something off. Even her hair is different. Like, her hair isn't as bright as it was. Yet there's something off. I just can't put a finger on what it is. And her skin is paler, it seems. Whatever it is, I can wait. Besides, when there are strange things, it is better to wait them out than to often become apparent with time, as they often become apparent with time. Not that I should complain when she greets me with a sunny smile on her face and a tray of food.
Good morning, dear. It looks like I overslept, huh? I haven't had that pleasure in a long while.
You should really indulge in it a bit more, my prince. I hope you do not mind, but I made breakfast for you.
I've been expecting her to tell me that she brought the meal up in order to eat together, not that she made it. For in all our marriage, Hannah had never cooked once. Though I can hardly find it in me to question her efforts, unless she was trying to poison me. Perish the thought. But she carries with her a platter of pies, delicious looking, round pockets of goodness. I'll have no second thoughts in fishing one off the plate with a hum, in fact. It smells divine, and it looks the part as well. The crust from outside looks like it's been baked to a golden and flaky perfection. The egg wash wasn't forgotten either, giving it a nice finish.
You made these? You're not pulling my leg, are you? These look great.
I make only the best for you, my love. Do try it out yourself, yes? I want to see what you make of it. Perhaps I will be able to prepare more meals for you in the future.
Oh boy, I feel like this isn't gonna go well.
Breakfast in bed? You spoil me, darling. Well, I can't say no to that, can I? Bon appetit.
The crust of the pie breaks easily with a bite, and I'm greeted with a taste of nice buttery pastry. But looking back down at the pie, I feel a bit put off. Ew! Ew! Why is there hair in it? The meat is red and a tad bit soggy, though I can't place what would make it that way. It tastes of turkey more than beef, though an old one at that. There's no real sauce of marinade to excuse the juice. It tastes like turkey that's been kept too long in the fridge after being roasted and carved. Definitely white meat at the very least, and well done as well. The thing is tough though, stringy and sinewy, which would say it's more muscle than anything. And
Ugh, what is...
I sputter, try to spit out whatever it might be. A few fine strands of something thankfully comes out. Although if I've swallowed any, it's far too late. Not unless I want to act like a cat trying to cough up a fur ball. It's just unfortunate the odd sensation of it being stuck at my throat still lingers, even as I down the glass of juice she has brought with the meal.
Buttercup, are you sure the ingredients you used are clean?
Oh, I do apologize. That must be You know, Chef has been feeding some stray cats lately.
Oh god, I hope she didn't just feed him a stray cat.
There are some roaming around the property. I saw him petting one just the other day during his break. Said he found it in the cellar.
Oh my god.
But you have nothing to worry about, my love. I took care of it.
She definitely is feeding him dead cat. She laughs then, probably because of the funny look on my face, but I just have this funny image in my head of Hannah chasing after a cat to shoo it out. We aren't cat people, but I doubt that means she would be cruel to the feline.
Maybe the other pies are clean.
I don't quite have the appetite for breakfast anymore. But thanks. Bloody cats.
If that is what you wish, all the same, it will give me more time to spend with you. You will spend time with me, yes?
I did tell myself that I would let myself have the day off today, but she doesn't know that. And I can't help but feel that offness again as her eyes burn through me. There's an eagerness there, a hunger, which makes my skin crawl. An unnatural reaction. I can do little else but nod, because answering otherwise seems the wrong thing to do.
Would it please you to have some tea then? I can fetch it if you wish.
Pushing myself off the bed with a groan, I roll my eyes and sigh. The crick I feel in my neck is easily taken care of, and I try to flatten my bed head to something a bit tamer. All throughout, Hannah still watches me, expectant and doting.
No need for that. We can have tea in the parlor, if you don't mind. Really now, Hannah, there's no need to busy yourself over it.
Would it please you to have some tea then? I can fetch it if you wish.
That was not the right line.
Just relax.
I barely said 2 words before she's out the door, however, and I'm left speaking to air.
Hannah, what is up with that woman?
Though perhaps I should have said no. Perhaps I should have feigned business or claimed a restlessness that would let me out of the house, away from her and her pies. Because as soon as I've stated my intent to laze the day away, that woman would neither let me lift a finger nor step a foot outside. She's animated, oddly so, moving about the parlor and fetching things for me that she deemed necessary. And were necessary, as if she knows that what I need or what I want before I can even voice it out loud. A pillow for my feet and a book to read, though I cannot, for the life of me, focus on it. It does not bother me too much, as I've read the picture of Dorian Gray twice over. I knew nothing but shadows, and I thought them to be real. I should be glad for the attention and the doting, really. Instead, an uneasiness settles itself into my stomach.
Why don't you just sit down and relax, dear? We are supposed to be spending time together. I don't think you rushing around like a handmaid is how I pictured it. You are wearing yourself out, and the sun is still high in the sky.
There's a stiff jerk of her head, as if to say no, while she busies herself with making tea with water already lukewarm. My instruction to take leave may be the only one she refuses to follow. Even if I express concern for her well-being and put out that there are others assigned to the task she wishes to carry out.
You do not need the others. You have me. I wish to show my usefulness, and I wish that you not ask me to leave.
You are not one of the servants, Hannah.
It was a thought that escapes my mouth, and I prepare for a reprimanding. Because servants, Lucille Mitchell Wright. These are our employees, and you will treat them with respect at the very least. Lucille? Okay. Yet that didn't come.
Of course. Of course I'm not a servant. I am your wife. Your princess.
I think we're both a bit too old to be playing princes and princesses. I do not know what brought on such behavior from her. Yet I can't bring myself to scoff at the idea, not when she looks torn and kind words might bring her some degree of comfort. I will indulge in this delusion, talk of monarchy, to an extent. One could suppose that Hannah is indeed Luxborn royalty, after all. But as I've said in the past, this sort of obsession does not quite suit me. Yes, I do crave power and attention, but this sort of thing is suffocating, stifling, wrong. It must seem complicated and contradicting, when in all honesty, it's quite simple. If Hannah were to ever put me in a pedestal, she would be turning into every other woman that I've managed to seduce due to my money and station. She'd be nothing, less than Hannah that I have found to love. Less than the Hannah that I have found to love. She'd be nothing but a mindless follower. Love and obsession is not one and the same. I don't want a lovesick woman who puts another before herself.
Princess. Oh, no, Hannah. You are my queen. And a queen needs to sit next to her king. So please, sit.
I can still feel them, little bugs on my skin crawling and squirming. But I ignore them as Hannah sits down next to me and I put my hand in hers. The touch nearly makes me want to pull away. For now, I feel them burrowing into my skin, digging holes into me, though there is nothing there to be seen. I clasp her hand though her touch burns both hot and cold. Cold and hot. I did not like the thought that Hannah, my sunshine, my darling, is someone I should fear. It's a bit of a paradox. For all that I do and should feel at the peace in this quiet moment, dread overtakes every part of me. A small voice in the back of my head screams that there is something wrong, but I cannot bring myself to look further into it. The whole thing doesn't even last.
The tea is ready. I should go. I've forgotten the milk and sugar in the kitchens. If you may excuse me.
Should I? Oh, let Hannah go. Like, bye, girl. I don't say a word as her hand slips through mine and I'm left alone for a short while. My skin is numb while she's gone and my mind wanders. My eyes roam to one of the paintings in the room. Lady and Lord Ermengarde, I suppose. Or is it their daughter and her fiancé? I had agreed to the acquisition of the house on a whim, on a thought. It is just an added bonus that I share some likeness to the young lord. I'm not so vain that I thought to look in a mirror only to find it's one of the old portraits. But can one blame me if I preen? With the chatty servants pointing out how I can very well pass off as him with a hairstylist and a costume. Certainly a great big ego boost, though only a crazy random happenstance. To imagine that it is my face on the oil canvas having a commission befitting royalty. To believe that it is my face on those walls and believe that I've always belonged here. To believe that I've never been a street rat. The singing and the buzzing returns, as does Hannah. There's something really wrong, but what? Watching Hannah set the table gives me some time to think. I suppose it could just be paranoia. I've been informed of a particularly nosy investigator snooping about, and Suarez has yet to catch who leaked confidential information regarding my businesses. It can be any number of things, really. I have so many things to do after this impromptu day off. But as I was saying, or thinking rather, I do not want to believe this is Hannah. She's acting differently, but that's a thing humans do. We're not static creatures who act on our day-to-day in the same manner as the previous one. I care greatly about her, and knock on wood, I have hope that this odd behavior of hers is not an omen of things to come. At worst, this is merely behavior of hers I've only failed to notice before. I do blame the party and that horrid Rochelle Lee. To prove her usefulness, she said, so that I did not send her away. Disturbs me greatly now that I watch her closely while she pours me a drink but does not bother to have one for herself.
It's not that I'm criticizing your sudden initiative to be a housewife. That is your choice, of course. I admit I may be partly at fault. I've been neglectful and haven't shown my appreciation to you as of late.
So, just out of curiosity, was Charlotte Ermengarde, who I'm assuming is the girl in the paintings, and the daughter of Elizabeth Ermengarde, was Charlotte's fiance, was he a prince? Maybe? Is that why Hannah, I'm assuming Hannah is right now possessed by Charlotte Ermengarde. Was the person she was engaged to a prince? Did they get married? I don't know. I've got a lot of questions still.
But you do know that you really don't have to do any of this.
I can see her hand shake as she offers me the cup. Did I strike a nerve? Whatever the case, I reach out to take the tea before she can drop it. No. As it turns out, I'm the one who would end up dropping the tea. Though mercy of mercies, the tea was cold. On the other hand, Hannah's skin burned even more so than before.
Oh no, please don't be angry. I'm so sorry, my prince.
A small cry escapes the woman's lips before she kneels down to clean up, picking up porcelain shards from the carpet. It is then that I notice the light sheen of sweat dotting her forehead, the paleness of her skin, and just how sickly and dull she just seemed to be overall. I stop her, grabbing her wrist with one hand and placing my other hand on her forehead. She's burning up.
Hannah, don't! I think you should rest. Just sit back and...
The thing about people fainting is that you don't really get forewarning. It's not like in the films where everything slows down and you get to watch as the other person's eyes roll back in the back of their head. I suppose someone can still be quick enough to catch the other as they collapse, but as it is, I can't do anything when Hannah falls to her side. The feeling of bugs on my skin is replaced by something much worse. This is all too familiar. A memory that hasn't left me even after all these years. She was sprawled on the ground, her hair like a golden halo as it curled about her. Her pale skin made her look so ghostly, I had the irrational thought that she would simply fade away. And the shakes. Oh, I was so worried that she would start shaking again like last time. I could do little but stare, so shocked and afraid. I was ready to call for an ambulance, though she loathed the thought of going into a hospital. Mom, are you alright?
Don't worry, dear. I just fell. Can you get Mommy special candy from my drawer?
But this isn't my mother. There's no special candy because this isn't supposed to happen. She's never done this before.
Hannah, are you alright?
Before I know it, I'm down on my knees. The cup shards dig into the leg of my pants, but I ignore them in favor of Hannah. She's warm, too warm, even as I try to shake her awake. A part of me says that's a good thing. Better for her to be warm, to know that her blood still courses through her body, hot-blooded things that humans are. To know that she still lives and that she isn't cold as death. I don't even realize it, but I'm screaming. Not until I'm pulled away. Not until I'm struggling in desperation as I refuse to leave Hannah's side. I cry to be let go, scratching, kicking, and doing everything but biting the one who dares hold me back. The images of Mother, dead in her bed, flash before my eyes. I need to do something, anything. I don't want to be alone. Not again.
Hannah, don't you fucking leave me! Oh God, wake up, Hannah!
Oh, I feel so bad. Poor Luke.
Your blithering hysterics help no one, right? Now stay back before I knock you out.
I'm telling you, it's definitely this freaking psycho, butler that's the serial killer. Like, he's definitely an issue here. I have to keep myself from lashing out, from strangling him for daring to get in the way of my wife and I. But I remind myself that the butler was a doctor. He's here to help. He can help Hannah. And I will not accept excuses or suffer no incompetence.
Fix her, Shirokin! Make sure she's alright! Because if she dies, so do you.
The stiff nod he gives me is probably the only guarantee I have that he'll do his best. Keeping yourself from dying is the best incentive anyone can get. Even then, I cannot bring myself to rest easy. Deep breaths, just deep breaths. Panicking and murder isn't going to help Hannah right now.
How is she? What's wrong with her?
I really can't tell, not without further laboratory tests. It can range from anything to simple dehydration or exhaustion to philosophical syncope. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. She has a high-grade fever. It could very well shut down her body.
So if he was a doctor, what the hell is he doing as a butler now? Like, I don't get that. I have so many questions.
We have to go and cool her down, see if we can get it under control.
Well, should we call for an ambulance?
If she doesn't wake up soon, yes. But it's best not to move her just yet, and...
Luke, what's going on? What happened?
I have no plans of apologizing as I shove the butler aside to check on Hannah. Though she still lay on the ground, all that matters is that she's awake, that she isn't dead. Just the thought of it, I don't know what I would do what I would have done if things were to the contrary.
Hey there, sunshine. How are you feeling? Do you think you're up to standing?
I don't feel too good, no. But I think I can stand.
She reaches out for my hand, and I'm quick to take it. Her cold and clammy skin is a cause for concern, but I force a reassuring smile on my face. At least I hope it's reassuring. There isn't exactly an emotion I'm used to plastering on my face. I rarely have need or want to reassure anyone else. The most I can hope for is that I don't make her worry.
Come on then, let's get you up. Careful, careful. We don't want you to fall or break something.
Like a leg, or your head. Though getting up to her feet is easier said than done, she claims that she can manage to stand, but she's completely dead weight as I lift her up. Weak. Too weak. I could feel the trembling of her body as if just existing had exhausted her. Soon enough, the butler aids me and we manage to let Hannah onto a chair without further incident. I have half the mind to wrench free and run. This is all too familiar, and I wanted no part in this. But do I even have the choice? At the moment, I suppose yes. So his mother was a whore and a drug addict. That kind of explains the alcoholism. I don't know. I don't know why he would have hired the butler, who is a former doctor, why the fuck would he want to be a butler after that? Maybe he lost his license doing something shady. And then the only job he could get is as a butler, and for some reason being a doctor appealed to Luke Wright. I don't know. I have so many questions. I'm not running away. That's preposterous. I just need to get some air.
Shrauken, take her up to our room and take care of her, all right? Schedule an immediate appointment to a physician. Get it done. As soon as possible. I just need to...
Breathe. I need to breathe. Gray skies loom over in the horizon, though the sun fights for every precious minute it gets to stay. It'll rain again soon, with the wind bringing along the gloomy clouds normal to Luxborn. Until then, it doesn't hurt to be out here for fresh air and sunshine. I walk to the gardens, what little of it there is at the moment anyway, and kneel by the daffodils. These were the first to be brought here and planted at my request, and if nothing else, they brought in a sense of peace. They were my mother's favorites. Oh, okay. Closing my eyes, I lift my chin up to welcome the light that shines upon me. And for a minute, I can imagine myself as one of the flowers, peaceful, blooming, and all too happy to stand in its warmth. Life would be much easier if we were all like flowers, wouldn't it? But I didn't step out here to get all philosophical. I have problems much more practical than figuring out the meaning of life, after all. Too many things have gone on these past few days, and I want to forget about them, even for just a moment.
It's almost All Saints, isn't it? To think I've almost forgotten.
I speak the words absent-mindedly. The date means nothing to me, as I neither worship the religion nor have any graves to visit. After all, my mother was never given a proper burial. But it's a date as good as any for me to grieve. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done so every single day, crippling myself. I would have done so every single day, crippling myself and shutting everyone else out. I can remember how the flames licked at her flesh and how it consumed her body until there was nothing left but ash. I stood there watching with the operator and a social service worker, though I could have been alone for all I cared. I felt alone. It was the most that could be done. No one would attend the funeral of a dead prostitute, let alone pay for it. All that's left of her, proof that she had lived, is her name written in the ledger of Luxburn Cemetery, a lighter, and me. Pulling out the lighter from my jacket, I can't stop myself from flicking it open to stare at the flame and to rub my thumb over her name. All in all, it isn't much, but it's something. And it'll be wrong of me not to make something of myself when she would have given everything to make sure I can become anything I want to be.
Feels like I'm stuck in a nightmare right now. What I would give to have you here by my side, Mother dear. To see you smiling at me. Alive and as beautiful as ever.
Poor Luke, I feel so badly for him.
I'm afraid I'm starting to forget what your face looks like. I've already forgotten the shade of your hair.
Eleanor Chandler was a wonderful woman, though not everyone would have agreed. Not everyone had seen past her occupation, past her vices and her illness. All they saw was a poor woman who sold her body to make ends meet, and had a bastard son because of it. They didn't see the mother who worked hard to put food on the table for me, the woman who gave and gave and gave to me while expecting nothing in return. She taught me the merits of hard work, but though I loved her so, I worked hard for myself. I would not be so foolish, so selfless towards people who would never give back. I learned that from the father who plucked me out of an orphanage from his own selfish gain. I pocket the lighter before I could feel the urge to actually set anything ablaze. Considering my close proximity to the flowers, they would most likely be the victim of arson. Just the thought of itself is blasphemous. Nevertheless, that doesn't save from them from being picked. Just enough to make a bouquet of the things in honor of Eleanor.
Would you be proud of me if you saw me now, Mother? Maybe. You're always so forgiving. No matter what trouble I got into. More than I deserved. Especially now.
See, I don't think Luke is a bad guy. I think he's just like... really hardened. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those people that just goes through life seeing the absolute worst of shit. And then he grows up and he's just this douchebag of a guy, but deep down he's kind of like, you know, this is what I gotta do to keep going, to make sure that everybody around me lives this life that they deserve to live, you know? And if it means that he has to be seen as the dickhead from then on, then so be it for him, you know? I feel like that's all there is to Luke, really, is that he's just doing his best to make sure that the people he cares about live a comfortable life. Just like his mother did for him, basically. It's been a while since I've talked to my mother like this. They say that even when our loved ones have passed on, they stay over to watch over us. Though I believe in neither a heaven nor a hell, a hopeful part of me wishes it were true, as ridiculous as the idea is. I can't help but grow still, a chill going up my spine when I do feel eyes upon me. For a while, I think I'm imagining it, but I'm all too familiar with the sensation of being watched. Carefully, I scan my surroundings, doing my best to not give away the fact that I'm aware of their presence, whoever they are. But there's not a soul in sight on the field surrounding the mansion. Yet there on the balcony overlooking the garden, she stands there, and though I can't see her face clearly from afar, I know she is the one staring at me. A servant, if one were to judge by her clothing. From this distance, I can't discern what those stains on her clothing are. The woman gives off a rabid air and simply do not belong with her surroundings. That isn't what worries me, though. What worries me is that she isn't one of ours. She can't be. Obvious signs of being tattered and dirty stayed aside. There shouldn't be anyone else in the mansion aside from the three of us. And that's the balcony that leads to our bedroom. Forget pretending that I don't notice her.
You! What are you doing there? You're not supposed to be there!
It's a stupid thing to do, I realize in hindsight, but calling attention to it was a spur-of-the-moment plan. From the height, there's no way she would have jumped off the balcony. And perhaps she would have only been able to sneak in there because Hannah is asleep. Calling out to her would wake Hannah, and at the very least, call Johan's attention to the matter at hand. I love this soundtrack. Like, this particular track is my favorite one. I love it. It's so intense. I dread to think of any other way she could have gotten there without Hannah calling for us. The woman on the balcony doesn't react, barely even stirs. Probably drug-addled or touched in the head, though that begs the question of how she even managed to get in there. That changes nothing, of course, and doesn't stop me from running back to the mansion.
Shrokin! There's an intruder! In the bedroom! Upstairs! Secure Hannah immediately!
Bursting in through the front doors, I'm greeted by Johans with a kitchen knife in his hands, looking wary and alert. There's a question on his lips for a moment, but he's quick to fall into place, giving me a curt nod before we rush up the foyer stairs. That woman would need to go through us to get anywhere, and between me and the butler, there's no way she's getting away. There's no announcing ourselves as I slam the bedroom door open, expecting to see the worst inside. Then we find Hannah simply seated at her vanity, without a care in the world. My relief can't be any greater. I don't even question if she's well enough to be moving around yet. But that is soon followed by suspicion and caution. Without a word, I signal for Johans to search through the room for the intruder, even going as far as to slip into the second bedroom. She couldn't have gone anywhere else, not without getting our attention, not without Hannah noticing. It isn't too far-fetched to think she may have been coerced into act like nothing is out of the ordinary. If she's being forced to do this, she would be able to tell me without alerting the criminal. We should be ready for such things, after all, being the wealthy, powerful, and influential people that we are. And though I hesitate to break her peace, to make her worry even more than she has the right to be, I know that matters of safety shouldn't be taken so lightly. Even if I could just content myself in just watching her.
Are you alright, Hannah?
There's a moment of silence as she fastens a cord around her neck, and with her back still turned to me, she replies as calmly as can be.
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be? Is there something wrong?
There's no sign of coercion or deceit. She gives none. Everything looks fine. Seems fine. Hannah says as much. Stepping out onto the balcony doesn't say anything differently. The outside is devoid of signs of any other human life with how secluded the property is. Though it's hard to be sure that with how the sun has set, trying to locate anyone on the large property by myself would be futile. Whether it's the truth or a convenient lie, one can only assume that everything is all right. And even Johans is in agreement.
There's nobody in the second bedroom or in the closet. It's all clear.
Yet I can't fight off the awful feeling that has taken over me.
Are you sure? Nobody? Double check. Triple check everything. Check the whole house if you have to.
What's going on? What is all this then?
He claims to have seen an intruder standing on your balcony. Did you notice anyone here, madam?
No, it's just been me. I've not heard or seen anybody else aside from the two of you all day. Strange.
The others have been given the day off. There shouldn't be anybody else here. Are you sure of what you saw? Perhaps you were...
Yes, I bloody well am sure of what I saw. There was a woman standing there, dark hair and in servant's clothing. Are you insinuating that I am making things up? That I'm going mad? Because if you are, I don't care how competent you've been. I won't have such disrespect directed at me. It's not paranoia if people are out to get me.
My anger is easily roused, no thanks to the adrenaline rush that's kicked in sometime, I don't know when. I don't think I'll ever get used to this feeling, really. No matter how many times I've had to rely on it to survive on the streets as a child, to survive everything, with how high I've managed to prop myself up. And I take any and all threats toward my person seriously.
I'm not implying that you're mad. The occasional hallucination is a completely normal and human experience, as long as it isn't a repeat occurrence.
Oh, so what? That was a trick of the light? My imagination?
You haven't ingested any alcohol today, have you?
A valid question, but...
I am not drunk.
In my state, I only realize how quiet Hannah has gotten when she doesn't joke about my debatable alcoholism. There's no clever quip or words of fond exasperation. She's only been watching me through all of this. So here's the thing. Luke is clearly an alcoholic, and if he hasn't drank anything today, and Johans is a doctor, then Johans has to know that alcohol withdrawal from someone who's addicted to it can lead to hallucinations, typically within 3 to 5 days. But I mean, depending on how dependent you are on it, withdrawal symptoms typically happen within 12 hours. So, it concerns me that Johans might think that Luke's just hallucinating because of alcohol withdrawal. And when I do notice that, I start feeling bugs crawling on my skin. See? Alcohol withdrawal. So there's this condition called delirium tremens, which is a alcohol withdrawal symptom. Again, typically happens within 3 to 5 days, but withdrawal symptoms do happen within 12 hours of the last drink, right? So I'm willing to bet anything that Johans thinks Luke is hallucinating due to delirium tremens, which is an alcohol withdrawal symptom because Luke has not had a drink today. When I didn't deign to speak further, fixated on the situation, or the sensation, Johans cuts in.
Whatever the case, we need to establish tighter security. We should have done so from the start. If you were seeing things, then we got lucky. Had there been a real intruder, we were ill prepared.
Of course. I trust that you can hire the most qualified from the agency. Are you all right, Hannah? You seem disquieted.
I am well, my love. I was just worried about how the hallucination brought you distress.
It wasn't a hallucination, I'm sure of it. But what can I do to prove otherwise?
Doesn't matter. You are safe, as am I. I overreacted.
Perhaps rest is necessary. It is late into the day, and you must be tired from your gardening.
Before I ask how she knew what I was doing, a small fond smile graces her lips before she brushes away a few yellow petals from my sleeve. But does it really look like I'm exhausted? I'm sure to be well rested, despite it all, and it's not like I've done anything physically exhausting today. Beyond running here and there in a hurry, anyway. I doubt I've let a trail of flowers in my mad dash. And I suppose I do look a mess.
Rest sounds good. I guess I'll need to sleep a lot more than I thought. But
Oh, I'll stand guard outside for the night. You two have nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about? I'm not so sure about that. But thinking any more about it isn't going to do anything.
Come on then, my love. Off to bed. I have been restless without you by my side.
Maybe close your balcony door. Might help. Even then, I can't force away the uneasiness that settles over me. Sleep is hard to attain, and even Hannah's embrace does not help. She's still burning up. October 31st, Monday. Alright, so this is the day before all the shit goes down with Ashton and everybody else. Let's see. Oh, stretchy. Whew. I'm getting really into this. I'm so excited for this game to finally, start telling me what's going on. Really, little sleep was had, and I feel completely drained come morning. Let me be totally freaking honest here. If this were my bedroom, number one, I hate the color scheme. I would have to change it instantaneously. And I hate the bed. The bed's ornate as hell, and I hate it. But, I would sleep like such a baby in this room. If it were raining outside and I had that balcony with a breeze coming in and I was just tucked in bed, oh my god, you guys, I would sleep like the most comfortable baby in the world. It would be the best thing ever. Really, little sleep was had and I feel completely drained come morning. Even when Hannah rises from bed in spite of a mild fever and invites me down to breakfast, I can't be bothered to drag myself up from the comfort of the sheets. It's not like I need to do something particularly important today. The rain that has started sometime during the night doesn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should be feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it has given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. It does let up within the quarter of an hour. However, a day beginning with a cloudburst like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxbourne's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. I'm cool with it. Whoops. Okay. I hope they did a damn good job of fixing this place, because I'd rather not have to deal with leaky roofs. Though Hannah might find humor in it, and perhaps asking me to sing in the rain to wear out of my anger. I don't like the idea that the realty did a horrid patch job with the place. Hannah technically paid millions for this place. It better live up to the price the realty company sold it for. Not that it's something she should be fretting about at the moment, when her health's not at the best. Hannah is going to be brought to the hospital for a checkup today, and if anything, I prefer that she focus on getting better. That fever, no matter how slight it is, can't be good for her. What with her odd behavior recently. You'd think she hit her head hard against something while I wasn't looking. Perhaps the proper rest is all she needs, but I'd rather not assume things. I'm a businessman, not a doctor. Oh, damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a pool man. Wonders why I even bother agreeing to babysitting duty at that. But here I am, scheduled as today's babysitter for Suarez's brat, once her father drops her off the mansion steps. Though that is a worry for much later. If I wish to, I can ask that nobody bother me while I doze off in a cocoon of comforters. But as always, somebody has to be a buzzkill.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
I would if this were my bedroom and it were raining outside. You wouldn't get me out of this room. I would live and die in here.
What do you want? It's far too early to deal with your nosiness.
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
Loath as I am to admit it, he's right. The whole thing might have rattled me, but there's a little point to jumping in at every shadow I see from the corner of my eye. I shouldn't lose my head for a threat that might not even come. I should know better by now. But I've never been this worried about a possible threat on my life before. I'll be honest here. If anyone is in danger, it's Hannah. I can take care of myself just fine. With security tightened, I'll have at least one guard, if not 5, making sure nobody gets within 10 feet from me without my say-so. Hannah, on the other hand, will be away for most of the day to get that fever check upon my insistence. It's a small relief that Johans will be with her.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming me down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Though I'll deny it, I do find myself a tiny bit interested.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
Ever consider she might be putting her paycheck to good use? Probably somewhere out there getting drunk, having a shag. Ugh, and I envy her for it. As long as she's here for work, what and who she does in her free time is her business.
Hell, maybe she's found another client to sleep with. I'll commend her if that's the case. It's a good way as any to make connections that get business. I would be a hypocrite and a liar if I said I didn't get any of my business that way. Scratches the itch, too.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Okay, interesting as all this is, why bring this to my attention? If we've lost an interior designer, just find someone else to take her place.
If I knew that letting Hannah hire her would bring so much trouble, I would have stopped it at just the sex.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this, and to suspect.
It's of little import that I could easily prove my innocence. It is a matter of principle. Because even the accusations of misdemeanor should not stain my reputation. Although maybe it is a bit too late to hope for a squeaky clean one. Besides, it'll be such a hassle to have police poking about the house looking for a body that doesn't exist.
Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Oh god. Well, there goes any plans of grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course. Ugh. Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
No, Johans, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on.
I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment. He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
Bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Change into a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence. Wish I was anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong, Kylie's a great kid. Wonderful. Better than most brats her age. But handling a tyke is the last thing I want on my agenda right now with this whole Hannah business. Fortunately, I'm well versed in how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I set to preparing for the day. Running a comb through my hair is just divine and simply makes me feel more human. Bed hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. With how expensive a trip to the barber's was, I often had to grow it out until Mother had the time to cut it for me. The curls and tanglers were simply horrid. Why I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. It certainly doesn't help that I was named Lucille. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp, clean cloth on my hands is a clear marker to the start of the day. Smoothing down my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. The horrors that come with taking care of a child.
Good morning to you, Luke.
Oh, good lord, she's so cheerful. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg in a show of impatience, and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our playdate today.
I doubt I'd forget. Kylie's visits are a frequent enough thing that they found a way into my schedule. They're supposed to be visits to her godmother. But we can't pick a child who a child gets along with. So long as I'm not busy, her father can drop her off for the day. Which is all well and good for me, if it makes Suarez focus on work I've given him. Besides, she's a bright child. Tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and could get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course they have to thank me for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Hannah and I have been there for this kid since she was a small babe. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was during her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hannah, who was to be named godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddled in her mother's arm in white cloth. It was the first time I really saw an infant up close enough to hold one at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after the whole water ceremony. I've never done so before, to hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hannah. She had thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit had been a mess and I was nearly an anxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet it was pleasant, too.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as he told me for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortillas de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
The Suarez's infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake...
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
It's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets, because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her.
Slow down! The food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want her to turn the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I've only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been left scattered across the room, from coloring books and crayons to toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she won't bring her doll along every time she visits. Narcissa is a creepy little bugger. It doesn't help when Kylie left her during one. Finding the thing at the bottom of the stairs staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now, it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I could buy her prettier doll, a better toy. I'll break it and find a way to get rid of it. If it wasn't for Hannah, and only if Kylie isn't so attached to it. The thing is some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday, one of a kind. My darling Hannah loves her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she can't just keep her interest long with the wife. Oh god, so is this freaking doll got something to do with all this nonsense now? Oh my god. It's not something that Hannah does wrong on her part. She does try so very, very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to handle children. She'd never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who catered to her every whim and worried for her every safety every minute. If I were that doll, like, the doll's dress, like its outfit, looks kind of Hispanic, so maybe it's got Spanish origin from, like, Spain or the Canary Islands or somewhere like that. But I could be wrong. I mean, I'm just running for a wild guess here. But there hasn't really... Oh no, there has been, because the little girl's last name is Suarez, and her parents, I believe, like, they vacationed to Spain or something. And the little girl kind of speaks Spanish. Let's see. I'm trying to mull over some stuff in my head, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's keep going. Maybe it's like a Spanish... Maybe the slave girl that Charlotte got off was a Spanish slave. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Maybe the reason that Kylie gets possessed every once in a while is because whatever ghost this is latches onto this doll that Kylie keeps with her. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just theorizing. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she's made of spun glass, like every moment might break her. I, at least, have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that scraps and skinned knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie, as behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mud or even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets or ship her back to her papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hannah isn't quite up for those sorts of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. Turns the whole playdate awkward every time. Taking the last seat left, I pluck one of her coloring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expect to see for a little girl, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? She once put dolls' tutus on model cars, even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome!
A dinosaur zoo? Are we talking Jurassic Park here? There is Dinosaurus!
Siri, dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long.
Yeah, they are really long, and they're tickle chickens. They look crazy, but, tickle chickens, that's what they're called.
They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall. Even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all of my classmates.
It's an herbivore. She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
Oh god, she's got imaginary friends. I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone, as long as she puts her mind to it. Yet the two of us are completely alone. Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny grown-up expression. That might be a little more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars, though. Both the thoughts of Cisa giving Kylie ideas, and one of said ideas being massacred by a dinosaur. Something I probably need to bring up with her father, aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precocious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after getting her sweets. Girl! I would eat that in a second right now. You know what? I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'll be right back. You guys just stare at this picture for a second. We tuck into our waffles as soon as food is brought in. Those blueberries look a little purple, don't they? But whatever. our waffles because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought as well. Which really goes great with the rest of this feast, as Kylie puts it. And if I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair it off with. With our bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and her parents, how they plan to go to the Bloxland in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She talks of Miss Pink, and I have to shift my legs to become uncomfortable once more. The memory of my initial meeting with her is still fresh in my mind. The little brat is quick to defend her favorite academic as well. The woman has yet to offer a proper apology, and she wishes to give one on her behalf, all diplomatic like I taught her. She talks of the sad man in the park and of her new friend who likes to play at hide and seek when she's not sniffing in the loo. Oh, Melody. So both of her quote-unquote friends are just imaginary. When finally she finds nothing new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course. The calm before the storm. Because behaved as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off of her. There's a restlessness buzzing around her, under her skin, and a question on the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crayons as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon, that leaves me with the blue one. I absent-mindedly start to draw a puppy to the best of my abilities. It's as I attempt to give the doodle dogs another eye that Kylie breaks her silence.
Tio? Where did Tia go? I saw them leave when I got here. Tia didn't look so good.
I've been expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a whole bunch of them ready for me, but I can only sigh when she poses this particular one.
She's just going to the doctor's for a checkup.
And as kids go, there are follow-up questions.
And you didn't go with her?
Well, you were going to be here, sweetie, so I had to stay behind.
So she's all alone? At the hospital?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has Johans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
Yeah, but you're not with her.
If I didn't know better, I'd say the kid is trying to make me feel guilty. I want to say that the little tyke is evil for making me feel so.
But I understand. When I get sick, Papa and Mama have to leave me with their maids, too.
Well, they don't take care of you?
That doesn't sound right. Even my mom took care of me when I was sick as a child.
Well, they're always busy with work.
Oh, I see. I guess that's no good.
I know she doesn't mean to accuse me of anything. But as her father's boss, maybe I do overwork Suarez a bit. There's a lot of responsibilities that only he is capable of carrying out. Delegation is a thing, sure. But when said responsibilities are legally questionable at best, putting others to the task isn't always an option. But
maybe your papa is in need of some vacation time. He deserves it, doesn't he? He's a hard worker. I could arrange something for the holidays.
I could cut him some slack. Some of his assignments can wait. I can't do much for her mom. She isn't one of my employees. But this would have to suffice. It'll be worth it if it makes the little girl happy. Because just like that, the somber look on her face turns into one of pure joy. It's like looking at a little sun, warm and bright. It's nice to do something kind every now and then.
Would you really, Tio?
Would you like that?
I'd like that very much, yeah! We can go to this museum! There's one with lots of cool trains and planes! I like trains! And there's the local manor theme park! And a monkey forest! There's a kid adventure farm too, the wacky warehouse, and a play barn as well, and...
Whoa, slow down there, Munchkin. I know you're excited, but I think you should let me schedule your dad's day off before you plan a whole year's worth of stuff.
There's an embarrassed giggle, but she does reel herself in enough to calm down, which is a feat in and of itself. It's obvious how giddy she is. And if she wasn't looking forward to the holidays before, like any child should, she does now.
I think Tia would be really happy if you were with her. You could have told me you needed to go to the hospital with her, Tio. I won't be angry.
I'd love to be with her, but I wanted to spend time with you, Munchkin. And she told me to stay. Besides, I don't like hospitals. They always smell like alcohol. Not the good kind either.
I don't think anybody likes hospitals. They're scary. But you said Tia is brave and strong.
That she is.
A content silence comes over us as we go back to scribbling. Though I stop when I'm done with my blue dog, cringing at how awful it looks. Kylie reprimands me for that because I should be like her. The little tyke goes through several sheets of paper, one drawing after another. Practicing, she says, because practice makes perfect. Not to mention there's a drawing contest coming up in class that she just has to beat Tim from Class D, who says girls can't be superheroes. The clay gets a turn too, where we start sculpting food and pretending we're Michelin chefs. When we're too tired from tossing pizza and making cakes, there's no trouble in finding another activity more relaxing for both of us. I find myself invested in reading The Picture of Dorian Gray once more. Often I lose myself in the pages of the book. However, it is rather difficult to do so when I'm also trying to keep an eye and an ear out for Kylie. I've been reading the same paragraph over and over again, even. Inexplicably, I can feel my skin crawl when the girl gets with Narcissa by the parlor's fireplace, humming, singing. Though I ignore it long enough to hear only the tail end of the song.
Everything is up in flames, up in flames,
Oh,
up in
boy.
flames. Everything is up in flames, my fair lady.
Oh, goodness. I don't think I could spend any more time with Kylie considering how high-strung I feel. So it's a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I've called. Though it is earlier than the agreed-upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they left. Or at least I interpreted it as such from where I've stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man, after all. But, to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. Well, aside from picking up the mess Kylie left scattered about in the parlor. To my immense relief, she remembered to take her doll home with her this time. But the same cannot be said of the crayons and papers littered here and there. First things first, I snatch my own doodle off the table and rip it to shreds, leaving no hope that it'll see the light of day. The rest of the drawings, all Kylie's, remain unharmed as I collect a lot. Though they've been stacked neatly on the table before, they must have been blown away when I saw Kylie off. And there are plenty of them. From cats and cakes to colorful rainbows and gardens, the child managed to make a lot during her morning here. There's one more that I have to fish out of the fireplace where it landed. Expecting to see another one of Kylie's masterpieces, I'm instead greeted with something a little more concerning. Takako is the girl. That's great. There's me, and there's Kylie, the two of us, side by side and smiling as our stick figure selves stand in a nondescript field. Not much I can ascertain without looking at the labels below the doodle's feet. But a third figure stands next to me in the drawing. A woman with her face hidden behind a curtain of black. Takako, the writing under her supplies.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, and I feel a chill go down my spine. A breath that isn't mine. That has me turning around, expecting, hoping to see someone, anyone, but nothing. And that's when I hear it. Laughter, sweet and merry laughter ringing from the ballroom. Thinking about it has my cheeks burning and my blood running hot. It's as if I'm being mocked. As I stomp towards the door, I have to stop myself from shouting up a storm. I expect to see some of the help dallying about idle from their duties. Perhaps they thought they could slack off on their duties without their head butler around and with my preoccupation with Kylie. Well, they had another thing coming. But again, nothing. Nothing from what I can see with a cursory glance at the very least. I roam around looking for near impossible hiding places, and still I'm alone. Yet I can still hear the laughter, that accursed laughter echoing about in the room in my head.
Who's there? Show yourselves and show some respect to the master of the house!
Cold uneasiness settles into my stomach when no one answers. I stumble on my own 2 feet, feeling a wave of nausea come from nowhere. I have to put a hand against the wall to stay upright when the world shifts and pain explodes from behind my eyes. It takes every ounce of my self-control not to heave then and there. The only thing my pride allowed me to do is close my eyes and attempt to alleviate some of the pain. Vague, unfamiliar images, dare I say, memories not mine, flash in my head, inviting and unwelcome. Like a strong hammer strike to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. Whatever emotions they hold are muted. I'm nothing but a spectator. Still, its weight feels palpable. Though it doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head. Through my eyes and my ears, it creeps and buzzes in the spaces between. One after the other, they come at me, an unending flood that threatens to sweep me away for what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that's not possible. All their anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above all of it are the whispers. The voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere, laughing and dancing. I should be concerned about them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out from nothingness. Instead, I find my concentration drawn to a man and a woman, though one can only call them a lord and a lady going by their clothes. And oh, just see how happy the couple looks. Though the man's eyes are eerily blank, like he's not all there. His face is familiar, though. In fact, they both are, but I can't quite place why. The two make for a pretty picture as they dance in the center of the ballroom. Even the phantom crowd's attention stays on them. It reminds me so much of Hannah and I during the early days of our marriage, the honeymoon years, they call it. We were happy then, too. All smiles and all sunshine. Even with the normal dreary weather. Younger, we had less to worry about, or at least thought that way. I thought, wished we could go on that way, even with all what I did and had to do. But life has a way of catching up. There was work to be done. Although we had to stay the loving, perfect couple in public, I could not afford to look so weak. To appear tied down to someone else, to those who knew who I really am. I had to harden my heart when I had business, but it hadn't always been so easy just to switch that part of me on and off. I should be concerned about their intrusion too. Ask what in bloody hell they're doing in my house, throwing a party as if they own the place. Ask myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before, when the parlor and the foyer are both only a few doors away. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize that this might not even be real. It dawns on me that these two people are the people from the paintings, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make this all up on my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high. Just then, I can feel eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation. Yet I find difficulty in trying to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage. And I regret looking away. Ooh, the woman from the balcony stands beside me. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run. But something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voices fills the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding to my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, drown me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues while I stand here, vulnerable and afraid, but the dance has already ended. And I'm afraid that I might just be tonight's entertainment. Attention is all well and good until bollocks like this go down. These phantom people watch me. Thousands of eyes scrutinizing, though they cheer for my return, cajole me to dance and join the merriment. There are eager hands all over, pulling me in every direction, but they did not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Listen. Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? Your kind. Our kind. You're one of us, my love. We are bonded by the blood we share.
If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it is nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison and echoing over in the spaces of my head. They welcome me back as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. They call me all these titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me. Once fleetingly, like a new memory having burned itself in my eyes, or in my mind. I have to struggle for air when I come back to myself after.
I'm not. This isn't.
The welcomes turn into screams at my protest, pained and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that it is my duty to stay, telling me that I belong among them, to them. Gentle touches turn near threatening, the warning scratches and the baring of teeth by predators before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I struggle to speak some sense of the hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance as they drown out my voice.
Our Lord, my Prince.
At her words, there is a compulsion to stay. Though my heart races in my chest, the fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with each other, nearly tearing me in two. The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whispers in my head tell me to go to her. They say that she is safety. She's home and heart. We've been waiting for so long. But repulsed at these thoughts, I wrench away and turn into a small gasp. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it. I nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air, inhumane and monstrous. I don't dare look back, I just run. I didn't care if this is a drug-induced hallucination or not. Just run. Out of the ballroom, and out of the parlor. It's only then that I bothered to look back, hoping and praying to the God I scorned that it did not pursue me. I would have run all the way out of the mansion too if only someone didn't get in my way. I collide with a body, much larger than mine, and fall back to the ground, head spinning as I look up at the stained glass. Turning my head to the side replaces the colorful sight with a pair of shiny black shoes. Fatigue fills every inch of me, making me refuse to get up. Meanwhile, a familiar head of ginger hair looks down at me in bemusement.
You really must look where you're going if you insist on running about. Do tell, where is the fire?
Oh, thank God you're here.
I do hope you don't have a concussion. Can you count backwards from 15 to 1 for me?
Oh, fuck off, you wanker. Just help me up.
I do not think insulting me if you do have a concussion is a smart decision. But no, really. 15 to 1.
That woman, she was here. I told you to keep an eye out for her.
The other man offers an arm and pulls me up to my feet then. But before I can storm off and pull him to the ballroom, he anchors me down with one hand on my shoulder and the other touching the back of my head.
No bruising or bump. That still does not mean that you don't have a concussion. If you are too lazy to count backwards, can you tell me your full name? Well,
we don't have Lucille Mitchell Wright, and this is the Ermengarde bloody fucking foyer. But we don't have time for this.
You must make and have the time to make sure you are not broken in the head. I have already sent security to scour the whole house when I saw you running out of the parlor, Dummkopf. If the woman is here, they will have her. You will only be slowing them down if you plan to interfere.
When he points that out, I realize that there are guards starting to filter into the house as we speak, with some already searching the nearby rooms. Armed and uninformed men go about in pairs, making it so the house is a flurry of activity. He lets go of me then, with the knowledge that I'm not going to keel over anytime soon.
I was hoping that you would be tired from dealing with the young miss on my return. Instead, you come running and hit your head. Such a troublesome boy. Shall I be carrying you to bed, too?
I can manage just fine on my own. Though I don't see how I can sleep until that woman is caught.
It'll be easier to keep you safe in your quarters. This is twice we've known the woman to break in. I think we can safely presume that you hold her interest.
He says it as a matter of fact in a tone that brooks no argument. Not like I'll argue if it means I'm kept safe. The two of us hurry upstairs, though we remain watchful and wary of any potential threats to my person. We make it to the master bedroom without any trouble, though, and two of the security are left outside the door. No problems at all. Not until we get inside. Johan's eyes scan the room wildly, a look of dread on his usually stoic face. And I don't understand for a moment. Looking around the bedroom, it's empty. But then I realize...
Where's Hana? She came home with you from the hospital, didn't she?
She's supposed to be here. I sent one of the maids to accompany her here, to let her rest.
I feel the color drain from my face when he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
I'm not staying in here while Hana stays out there.
One of the guards will find her and bring her here.
And what if they don't? What if that woman gets to her first? What if she already has her?
That's not possible.
You can't promise that.
There's no second thought as I reach under my side of the bed and pull out one of my knives. I have no doubt that the other man can take me on if we were both unarmed. But with this, I can even the field. Or at least deter him from escalating the situation and risking hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for Hana. And you're either with me or you aren't. I'm not risking Hana, and I'm not leaving her alone.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There's a withering look on him that I try to match. On that somehow, I'm losing fast too, even with him not saying a word yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You are in no proper state to go looking for anyone. If it will make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay. Where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one person to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
Perhaps it's his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that has to do with me, I'd like to think that over the years he has grown to care for Hannah at least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I trust him with her safety over any servant in this house. So, an acquiesce.
You have 2 hours, Shirokin. I don't think it'll take that long to find one missing woman in this house. 2 hours. Any more than that, and I'm going out there.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in the damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one? There's the reason why we will never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
And the knife?
The knife stays.
Very well.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves, locks, and closes the door behind him. For a moment, I still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions. Then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against this place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Hana will be safe too. The butler will find her, and when I wake, she'll be here. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughters and whispers of a twisted love from a time long gone.
Who are you? Stay away!
Okay, guys. Against my better judgment, I'm going to leave this episode here because we've been recording for like an hour and a half or something. But I'm going to leave it here. Don't worry. I'm going to pick it right back up. I promise. Because I'm dying. I need to know what happens. Oh, okay. But anyway, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video from me. And that you definitely get to see how this ends. Because, man, it is coming and it's going to be a doozy, I have a feeling. Follow me on Twitter, PCGamerGirl, and catch me on Twitch, PCGamerGirlYT. And I will see you guys later. Bye!